Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love, a love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service.
Arise, our souls, oh, arise. My friends, my church, my beloved community, good morning. Good morning. I'm Joseph Davis. I'm a member here at All Souls, and whether you're here or watching online in the land of ones and zeros, we are glad you're here. Your presence enriches us, all of us, here on this time together on Father's Day in 2024. You may be new here this morning, so welcome. I hope that you have visited the welcome table out back there in the lobby where you can learn more about our congregation. Would All Souls members who want to greet visitors please raise your hands? So visitors, as you feel comfortable, I encourage you to talk with any of the people who did in fact raise their hands. I happen to be one of them. So. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and our tradition is a large tent with many rooms for belief and unbelief, and the questions that matter. That said, our values of inclusion, compassion, reason, and justice are strong, and they hold us together. We seek to build the beloved community. We make room for everyone, and we try to create a world where everyone's needs are met. Thus, whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whether you come here with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. And we especially welcome you there in the back, Mrs. Carolyn McDonald. And y'all know why. It's Miss Thing's birthday today. And she's been with us, and she's one of a kind and close to my heart for reasons that I'll let her talk to you about. But she is indeed an esteemed emerita of this, our beloved community. And so I think, Anthony, are you ready? I am. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carolyn. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Carolyn. That's the way to have a birthday. Wow. Friends, it is so good to be back here with you. My name is Peter Luckey, and I am so honored to be a frequent guest at All Souls Unitarian Universalist congregation here in Kansas City. Well, thank you. It's great to be back. It's so fun. This is terrific. And just to echo what your moderator said, that wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. It doesn't matter who you are or who you love, you are welcome in this community of faith. We come to this place to be centered, renewed, grounded in the love that transcends all loves, the love that weaves us together into a tapestry for this great spirit that is here among us. Welcome, and let us be centered and renewed and ready to receive and be in a place of worship.
This can be a very profound experience. I've done this a few times, and I think given our conversation today, it's an honor to do it, because I think what we do when we light this chalice represents the fire of hope. Thus, here today in this place, and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know, and may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way. Please stand as you are able. And join me in the affirmation of our covenant, and then remain standing as we join together in song. Church, let us together say that is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. and I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
You may be seated. At this time, we invite children and people of all ages to come up and let's have a few moments together. Anybody be brave? Come on up. Yeah, I see one. I see two. Okay. Yeah. Hi. Come have a seat. Come sit next to me so I don't feel so lonely. Awesome. High five. Yeah, okay. Some people are a little sleepy. It's still morning. High five. Yeah. No high fives? Okay. Low five? No. Anyhow, good morning. It's so good to see you all. My name is Peter, and want to talk today about hope. Does anybody know what it is to hope for something?
Yes.
What is hope? Can you say what that is?
It is a meaning for something that you really want, that you don't know if you're going to get it, but you still really want it.
Did you just hear that amazing answer? Okay, I'm not preaching the sermon because it's already been preached. Awesome. It's hoping for something that you want. You may not get it, but you want it, and that's that sense of hope. So raise your hand if you hope to find a new friend. Does anybody raise their hand for hope for a new friend? Raise your hand if you hope you get an A+ in school. No?
I'm homeschooled.
Okay, you're homeschooled. Okay. Raise your hand if you want to be, hope that you get on the team, whatever the team is, soccer team, baseball team. Raise your hand if you're going to be on the team, want to be on a team. Okay, we got some people want to be on a team. Raise your hand if you want to get along with your brothers and sisters.
Yes.
You hope. All right, there we go. Raise your hand if you hope you're going to go on a vacation.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Vacation.
Raise your hand if you hope when you go on vacation that your family doesn't have a flat tire. Whoa. All right. So this is great. So these are all, anybody else have something that you're hoping for?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay. And what? Donuts? Ice cream donuts. Okay. So we got lots of things to hope for, and I'm going to show you, this is about hope. This is a picture. Can anybody tell me what this is?
Acorn.
Acorn. Acorn. All right. Okay, now listen, I was going to bring acorns to my house, but my squirrels ate them all, so I couldn't bring acorns. Acorn's a teeny little, like, nut, right? Yes. And when the oak tree grows, it gives off a lot of acorns. And what do acorns, and what happens when acorns grow up? What happens to them?
They turn into another tree.
They turn into a tree. What's this?
A tree.
It's an oak tree. So not every acorn becomes an oak tree, but every oak tree started as an acorn. Every oak's huge. And in our house, we have a huge oak tree that's really old and beautiful. And it started out as a teeny little acorn.
Then acorns are a reason to have.
So, you know.
Acorns are the reason why a lot of things are a thing.
A lot of things are what?
Popcorn. Then an acorn is by the way, trees make a lot of things.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So, okay. So I've lost it here, guys. So look, here's what I want you to take with you. When you think about something, you're hoping for, you hold on to that hope, because that hope may be a little acorn and maybe somebody will cook you popcorn.
I'm hoping to watch Gravity Falls.
Right. When you go from this place, I want you to remember, don't give up hope. Okay? Can you remember that? Don't give up hope. All right, I think it's time for you all to go to class, and we're going to stand and sing a song together.
Go now in peace, may love guide all your ways. Beauty be the the blessings of your nights and days. Truth on your lips and kindness in your deeds. Faith to follow where the human spirit leads.
Good morning. I am Angela Allard. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Social Action Network here at church. And part of our program is that we share the plate, the offering plate, once a month, hopefully, and for an outside organization that's doing justice work in the community. And today we picked the Advocates for Immigrant Rights and Reconciliation, and the executive director this morning texted me that she has food poisoning, so she's not here this morning to help us out, but I'm on the board of AIR, and so I've been with AIR for the last 12 years or so, and I can tell you about their great work and why we're asking for your generosity today with the offering. AIR was founded kind of as a response to the Minutemen, who set up their chapter here in town to oppose immigrants. And so we did not want to let them not be opposed. We wanted to speak out against their hate messages against immigrants. And we were founded to educate people in the pews, basically, and voters about the immigration struggles that people go through, and to inspire people to get involved and to do advocacy to change some of the laws that we have. We've been working at it for quite a while. We do a lot of education. Two of our members just recently came and spoke at the forum a month and a half ago. We go out to schools. We do social service agencies and educate them about how they can better help immigrants. And we're supporting right now a lot of the newcomers that are coming. I don't know if you knew that our mayor said, come on, Kansas City has jobs, and so New York and Denver are sending people here to Kansas City, and we're going, we don't have a shelter here. We can't really provide a whole lot of stuff, but we're doing what we can to help those folks. We do local advocacy also in Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. Can you imagine being a victim of a crime, wanting to report it, and not having the ability to explain what happened because the 911 folks don't have interpreters available? Language access for complaining about a landlord or for showing up to court. Sometimes language access isn't there. We recently got a language access office established in Kansas City, Missouri. We're still working on Kansas. All kinds of stuff that AIR does, and they accompany people to go to court, to go to their bond appointments with immigration when they're in removal proceedings. The work is exciting. It's always changing, and always changing. I can tell you yesterday I got a notice that we need to respond by tomorrow about a detention facility that they're trying to put in Leavenworth to house folks that have been caught by ICE. So we welcome your financial support or your involvement. If you have any interest in learning more or participating in the work of AIR, we would welcome you. And now the offering will be gratefully received. Thank you.
So as we prepare for our deeper reflection and conversation about hope this morning, let us dedicate our offering. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
Can you see me? Yeah. It's always a issue for me up here. All right, today's first reading is from Peter Jackson's adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's classic, The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. This is a conversation between Frodo Baggins and his loyal companion and servant Samwise Gamgee. Sam falls back against the wall as a storm brews overhead and says, "I can't do this, Sam." "Sam, I know. It's all wrong. By rights, we shouldn't even be here, but we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered, full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, the shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you. That meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, I do understand. I know now. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back. Only they didn't. They kept going, because they were holding on to something. What are we holding on to, Sam? Sam goes, picks him up. That there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for.
From Howard Zinn's You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history and her story, not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history and her story will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live in defiance of all the bad that is around us. This in and of itself is a marvelous, marvelous victory.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Thank you, Darrington and Anthony. Let's just take a moment to find that stillness that you sang about. And just take a moment to relax where you are, kind of settle into your chair, and just to let your breathing release all the anxiety that you carry within you, that I carry within me. Just have some breath where you imagine when you inhale, you're inhaling peace and you're exhaling gratitude. Inhale peace, exhale gratitude. Let's take a moment to breathe. So, boys, it's a clearing shower. I can hear my dad saying this even now, not just to me and my brothers, but to the elements itself. We were camping on a wild, loon-graced, lonely lake up in the wilderness of northern Canada, but we weren't hearing the call of the loon because we were huddled around a campfire in pouring rain. And we could hear the water hissing, the campfire shivering in our parkas. And we were having breakfast, scrambled eggs on metal plates, and we could hear the rain pitter-patter pinging off the metal plates as we ate our scrambled eggs. Isn't camping fun? And Dad would say again, boys, it's a clearing shower, as if he could just will blue sky to appear. You know the way it is in those ads on TV we see where people are camping and there's never a cloud in the sky and they're sitting around on a beautiful sunset on the side of a lake and they're roasting marshmallows and they're singing Kumbaya and they're never swatting mosquitoes. No, we in our family aspired that camping would and should be like this, but often it wasn't. But we said, any minute now, the weather's going to turn for the better, and the sun's going to come out, and we are going to dry out our soaked sleeping bags, and we are going to be singing Monty Python's Life of Brian song. Always look on the bright side of life. Okay, that'll leave the music to the musicians. We were a family of optimists. Believed that things inevitably would work out okay until they didn't. And then in our family, a storm came, and it was not a clearing shower. We learned, this is 50 years ago, that Dad was afflicted with a rare brain disease with which there was no cure. It was a hard time for us. I was in my early 20s, my brothers in their late teens, and we were together at this time. And I remember at the time that there was sort of a bravado we had that, and I want to claim this for myself especially, I don't speak for my brothers, that sometimes we joked and laughed and pretended that none of this was really happening, that it really was a clearing shower. And then a dear friend, and I mean a dear friend, took us aside one day and he said, you know, you Luckies think everything is great. Well, it's not. And I have been so grateful over these many years that our dear friend helped us wake up to reality so that we could begin to grieve as we needed to grieve. And as I think about our friend and what he said to us, you Luckies think everything is so great, I feel it's a little bit like what's happening to us today, where the earth itself is crying out to the human family, all of us, and saying, wake up. Not everything is great. The temperatures we've experienced this last week in a big part of the United States are reaching unprecedented levels of heat. It seems that every summer now we are shattering world records, not ones we're proud of rising temperatures. It seems as if the earth is crying out to us and saying to us and the human family, you promised in the year 2015 at the Paris Climate Accord that you were going to hold the increase of temperature on the earth to 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century, and you are going to do that by reducing carbon consumption of fossil fuels by 43% by the end of 2030. And the earth is saying, I've read the United Nations study, and you're not even close to meeting that mark. The earth is crying out. The oceans are crying out, killing the coral reefs, which kill the plankton, which starve the fish. The ocean is crying out, warming up like an incubator, ready for class 4 and 5 hurricanes this summer season. The earth is crying out. My streams are too warm to support the trout that you love to fish. My prairies are being decimated, and the prairie chicken has now been lost. 97% of what it once was, gone. And gone, too, are the glaciers soon in Glacier National Park. By the year, 6 years from now, if not sooner, there will be no glaciers in Glacier National Park. The earth is crying out to us. It is as if the world is giving us a wake-up call to us human beings, and our favorite defense mechanism is denial. Close our eyes, block our ears, pretend it's not so. But Britt Ray, speaking for the world, when he says in his TED Talk, there's no rug in the world that's big enough to sweep this under. Brian McLaren, some of you may be familiar with this author. He's just written a brand new book called Life After Doom, Wisdom and Courage for a World Falling Apart. The book reads like a prophet of old, crying for us to wake up and face reality and quit living in our dream world. He says, like the title of the book, we are doomed. We are doomed. Although he uses a more colorful verb that begins with a letter F, which I will not repeat. We are, full stop. We are doomed. Our global civilization is unsustainable. Our global economy, the way it's structured with capitalism that demands continued growth, satisfying our shareholders, and this voracious appetite for growth demanding more and more resources be extracted, it is unsustainable. We are sucking out too many of the earth's resources for them to be replenished. We are pumping out too much waste for the earth to detoxify. So Brian McLaren is asking the question, what if? What if it's too late? What if we can't fix this? What if things are too far gone? What if we can't turn back the clock? He thinks it's too late. For all our turning to alternative energy technologies, to wind and solar, for turning and switching to electric vehicles instead of gas-powered ones, for all our belief in technology to solve our problems, what if it is too late? And what if we have held on to these beliefs that somehow we can fix this? That somehow this is just a clearing shower and better days lie ahead? What if things are too far gone and we are doomed? What is the alternative? We can put our heads in the sand and deny that it's happening, or we can succumb to despair and throw up our hands and say there's nothing to be done. We can throw in the towel. We can give up and give in to despair. Brian McLaren is suggesting, and I believe this, that there is a third path. And it's a path that begins with recognizing and allowing us to feel our grief for what we have lost. That's what grief is. Grief is the feeling you have when you are losing or have lost something. He's suggesting that allowing ourselves to feel grief is the only path to finding a hope that is beyond hope. A hope that's not based on outcomes. We're going to meet this measure, by golly. But it's a hope that comes from deep inside of who we are. But it can only come when we go through that valley of the shadow of tears of grief. I know that it's painful. How many of us have lost a loved one or lost something and been in a state of grief? We don't want to go there. We don't want to live in grief. I don't want to live in grief. It's too hard. And yet, this may be the only path. And consider this, my friends. We, as a community of faith, and we just read our covenant a few minutes ago at All Souls UU, that we pledged to be a community of truth, to live and love truth. But to love truth is to allow ourselves to grieve. Because the alternative is to live in denial, to pretend it's not happening. But it is happening. And this is what it means to live in truth. It's to be honest with ourselves and with each other and say, look, this is really happening. This is what we are losing. This is what we're feeling right now. Joanna Macy is a very revered Buddhist teacher, and she captures the grief of what many of us feel when she writes, "Every generation throughout history lived with the tacit certainty that there would be generations to follow, that its children and children's children would walk the same earth. That certainty is now lost to us. Every time I see my grandchildren, have I told you that I have grandchildren? They live a stone's throw from here. They live in Brookside. June, age 10, Violet, age 7. And every time I see them inside me, my heart aches because I'm worried about the world that I'm bequeathing to them that they will receive when I am long gone. And I'm wondering how they will manage, how they will cope. And I feel grief. I feel grief for the old normal when we assumed that our economy was innocent. Grief for what was but is no more. I feel grief for the world that we so loved is ending. In the words of Brian McLaren, dying, being murdered by ignorance, being killed for convenience and profit. This is a lot, my friends. This is a lot. But I invite you, dear friends here at All Souls Unitarian Universalist congregation, to walk in the way of truth. And walk in the way in truth, even if it means that we're willing and brave enough to grieve together. Walter Brueggemann in the Old Testament historian says that grief is the counter to denial. It is the opposite of denial. It's facing truth. But there's something else about grief I want to share with you this morning, and I think this is really, really, really important. Do you know how it is when you grieve, and you grieve the loss of a loved one? Sometimes that grief, as painful as it is, it drops you deep down into your soul, into that still place that we were just singing about, that deep place inside your soul where you discover that there is deep inside your love, through that valley of tears, there is mixed with it a powerful love that you feel inside of your deepest place of your heart. A love with a capital L that connects you with all that is, that we're all part of this tapestry of love, all human beings and all creation itself. And if we can find that place, that fierce love, that radical love deep inside of ourselves, it may be there and only there that we begin to discover the hope that lies beyond hope. Not a hope based on outcomes, but a hope that comes from the deepest still place inside of our souls. And that is why I love this reading from The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, with Peter Jackson's film adaptation of J.R. Tolkien's classic, where Sam says, folks in these stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. And Frodo says, what are we holding on to, Sam? And Sam says, and this is really important, that there's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. There's a hope beyond hope, born of a fierce, deep love inside of our souls. A hope that says, I know we are doomed, but the world is still good, and I will love it nonetheless. Our grief need not lead us to a place of despair, but our grief can lead us to a place of hope beyond hope. Because at the end of the day, we agree with Sam and Mr. Frodo that the world is a good place. Think about that. Every breeze caressing our cheeks, every cardinal song landing on our ears, every whiff of sagebrush and tall grass prairie, is love with a capital L weaving itself in and through creation, including our own breath as we were breathing this morning, announcing at the end of the day, life is good. It's what Howard Zinn says, and you can't be neutral on a moving train, says there is this spirit of love, and when we live in this spirit, in defiance of all that is bad in the world, that in and of itself is a marvelous victory. Can you see it? Brian McLaren writes, we will live as beautifully, bravely, and kindly as we can, as long as we can, no matter how ugly, how scary, and mean the world becomes, even if failure and death seems inevitable. We will turn our hope into hope beyond hope, not based on outcomes, but out of our hope we will act nonetheless. As Wendell Berry said to Bill Moyers in an interview, we don't have the right to ask if we're going to succeed or not. We don't have the right to ask that. But we act. We are each a candle, wax, wick, and flame, and we will burn as long as there's wax and wick for this brief period of time that we are given to walk on this planet. And while we are here, I think of us all this morning, each of us with our own lights burning, hold aloft. It is our task, your task, to discover what is your light that you want to let shine in this moment. What is yours to do in this moment of history? What is ours to do together? I believe in the best of the Quaker tradition that there is a light inside of each one of us, and it is ours to discover. It is the words of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount who said, let your light shine. Don't keep it under a bushel. It is within you. It's within this community of faith at All Souls. It is yours to decide what your light is. And there's not time in this sermon to talk about what that light is. That's your work to do, friends. But having said that, I will say there's one thing that we must do, that we have to do, that we cannot not do, holding our light high, is that we have to vote on November 5th. We have to. We just have to. We just have to vote. So I said three things this morning. Number one, it's a wake-up call to face reality of what's happening to our planet. Number two, it's a call neither to live in denial nor in despair, but to grieve for what we have lost, for this is what it means to live in the way of truth. And number three, to allow our grief to drop down into that deeper place in our souls where we discover that fierce love with all that is, with that connection with all that is in this world. And let that love, that fierce, defiant love, be a marvelous victory, be our guide and hope and our call to action, not based on outcomes, but based upon our faith and the power of this love. Three things. So I leave you, take you back up camping again. Just imagine we're camping on a wild, lonely, loon-calling lake, and the rain is coming down, and it's cold. And we're all waiting for the clearing shower, for the blue sky to appear as we wait there in the rain, and it's cold and shivering, and we're miserable, and we're getting discouraged. And then suddenly what we discover is that blue sky that we're looking for, that light. It's not out there. It's in here. It's in our hearts. And no storm can shake that inmost light. No storm can shake it. That light, which is the light of radical, defiant love, fierce love, that connects us with each other and connects us with all that is good. And we say, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. The little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Friends, go forth into the world and let your light shine. In every encounter at the quick shop, every person you meet on the street that's a stranger, every challenge and every note of anger and bitterness and acrimony. And surely we're going to face some of that in the next 120 days. But by golly, no matter what, that light that's inside you, you're going to let it shine.
Rejoice in love we know and share, in hope and beauty everywhere. Rejoice in truth that makes us free, and in the good that yet shall